Hey, this is Shane here from Boulder Future Marketing. And this morning we were having a little discussion in somebody's Facebook post thread where they posted about a new habit that they were trying to form in doing cold plunges. And if you've ever done a cold plunge before, it's something that's it's a little hard to do. And somehow I have managed to be able to do it for 1,693 days as of today. And I've never ever missed a day. And it got me to thinking, like, people were asking questions about how I was able to accomplish it for so long. And it got me thinking about a book that I had read a number of years ago by James Clear called Atomic Habits. And he talks about how to establish goals and be able to accomplish things that are very difficult to accomplish. And he talks about these three concentric rings of achieving things. The outer ring is goals, which is, really that's something where you're looking for an outcome. Like you want to lose weight, you want to write a book, or you want to record a video, or whatever it is that you want to do. That's an outcome-based kind of thing, which is typically what most of us establish, right? You think about New Year's resolutions and that kind of thing. And it's not very, it doesn't stick very well. We tend to make these outcome-based goals and then not adhere to them. So the next level, which is a stronger level that James talks about, is developing habit systems and routines. So that's changing the process. It's a new routine, like an exercise or meditation or creating ads to promote your business. And that is a much better way to achieve something that you're trying to achieve that isn't part of who you are right now. The third part of the ring, the core, which is the strongest way to make a change in something that you want to accomplish, is an identity-based change. So that's changing your beliefs, your worldview, your self-perception, your self-image, and also changing the judgments of yourself and others, how you think. So outcomes are what you want to get. Processes are what you do to get that thing, and your identity is what you believe. So outcome-based habits focus on what you want to achieve. Identity-based habits focus on who you wish to become. And that's the strongest way to make that change. So when I was doing the cold plunge, I wanted to become the type of person who could work under immense pressure. In this world of running a business and being an entrepreneur, there's lots of pressures that we have. And I wanted to be able to retain better focus, live inside of that pressure, but be able to remove myself from the pressure of that moment and be able to make rational decisions better, just improve the efficiency around that. And I knew that doing cold plunges helps to balance the autonomic nervous system, right? The balance between parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight versus just normal rest and digest. And doing cold plunges helps that. So after 1,693 days of doing it straight, I'm able to work better under pressure. And so that improved the processes. But in order to get there, I had to change the identity of who I was becoming. I was becoming somebody who could think rationally while under pressure. So the ultimate intrinsic motivation is when a habit becomes part of your identity. Okay, it's one thing to say that I'm the type of person who wants this, but it's a much stronger thing to say I'm the type of person who is this. So in order to help entrepreneurs and small business owners like you overcome this kind of thing and be able to achieve the goals that they wanted to achieve, I came up with this thing called the standing 10 count success filter method. And so the idea here is that to change or become something new is difficult. In order for someone to become something new and make lasting change, something that's going to stick with you for a long time so that you can push through what they call the valley of despair, right? We always start out wanting to achieve these goals, but then we hit the doldrums. We hit this cycle called the valley of despair where it gets really hard and it's not exciting anymore, and most people will tend to quit. As a matter of fact, it's been studied that over 80% of people will quit if they make just a goal-based outcome. So in order to do this, in order to become someone new and make that lasting change, you have to, number one, understand what you want. Okay. Secondly, know why you want it. And thirdly, to know whom you must become. Like, what are the characteristics of the type of person who is doing the things that you want to do, right? So if you're having trouble figuring that out, you can do what some actors do, which is called method acting. Just start acting like the person, pick somebody you like, that you respect, and start acting like them, and doing the things that they would do before you become the characteristics, or before you start exuding the characteristics of that person you want to become. And so whenever new things come up, where there's doubts in your mind that you need to make decisions to act instead of react, stop and ask yourself these filter questions that I came up with. Okay, firstly, is this something that is a vital contribution to your intrinsic value-based goal of what or who you want to become? So you ask yourself that question. Then you say, what are my options for the action to take that will make me happy right now in this moment? And will it contribute to the success of either my clients or myself? And is it urgent or important? So what you're going to do is you're going to plan to do the important things, and then the urgent goes away. Don't firefight. Those react kind of mode things are just not good for creativity. They're not good if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur. And then is it at the top of your value chain? Meaning, is it something that I should do, or could I delegate it? Like, what is the dollar value? And do a little cost needs analysis on that. And then if all else fails, adapt, improvise, and overcome. Because our goals that we set today may change over time. So a few years ago, I had the pleasure of being able to see Gene Kranz speak at an event. And Gene Kranz, if you remember, he was the NASA flight director and served for quite a few of the Apollo missions, including Apollo 11 and Apollo, where they landed on the moon. And then he was also the flight director for Apollo 13, which was dubbed the most successful unsuccessful mission in the history of the U.S. space program. And he told me, I got the chance to speak to him after he did his keynote speech, and he told me that yes, it is true, failure is not an option. That was the theme that he became known for. But he said, even though failure is not an option, always remember that goals can change. So pay attention to what's going on around you and manage appropriately. All right. So I serve small business owners and entrepreneurs to help them grow their business. If this is the kind of thing that you like, then hey, give me a comment below and let me know what it is that you're trying to improve on, where you're trying to grow. And subscribe to my channel, like my posts, give comments, and send goodness out there in the world. And remember, success always loves speed. Thank you.